First, let's talk about Chardonnay. Now, Chardonnay originated in the Burgundy wine region of France, but today it's become one of the most popular white wines throughout the world, and it's grown in almost every wine-producing region. It's at least in part because Chardonnay is very easy to cultivate. It's adaptable to many different environmental conditions, and it ripens relatively early. This makes it a great starter grape for countries who are wishing to break into the wine production industry. Chardonnay itself is a fairly neutral grape, with a light, tart flavor sometimes compared to green apples. But in most wine regions outside of France, and almost always in the US and Australia, Chardonnay is fermented and aged in oak barrels. This makes it a richer, creamier wine, with flavors like vanilla, butter, butterscotch, and custard. Much of that flavor is actually coming from the oak. Classic Chardonnays are also very dry, with little to no residual sugar. Many Chardonnays, especially in California, undergo a secondary fermentation process during production. It's called malolactic fermentation. This is a very common step in red wine production, but it's a lot less common for white wines. During this process, the malic acid in the wine is converted to a softer tasting lactic acid. This can really alter the taste of a Chardonnay. Malic acid has a very tart taste, similar to green apples, but malic acid has a richer, more buttery taste, and it leaves the wine with a softer, fuller mouthfeel. In fact, that resulting buttery flavor is often considered the hallmark of a good California Chardonnay. But as is often the case in wine, not all the winemakers agree. There are some who consider that heavily oaked, buttery California Chardonnay to be unsophisticated, and so it's becoming increasingly common to find lighter style Chardonnays that intend to showcase the natural flavors of the grape a bit more. These wines are lighter in body, more acidic, and slightly tart tasting. Some are even made without the influence of oak at all, and those wines are typically labeled as unoaked Chardonnay. Chardonnay is also one of only a few grapes that are used to produce champagne. Many use the term champagne to refer to any sparkling wine, but true champagne comes only from the Champagne region of France, where there are strict rules governing the cultivation and winemaking process. The French are notorious for regulating the production of wine. Only winemakers who follow the guidelines are permitted to use the designation champagne on their wine labels.